On First Alert Weather Extra after heavy rainfall affected a popular festival. Find out the aftermath and the decisions some festival goers made. And as Florida communities continue to clean up from the damage from Hurricane Idalia, the remarks from President Biden during his visit there Labor Day weekend. And the new way to prepare your kids for hurricanes.
WBRC Fox 6 News. First Alert Weather Extra starts now.
Welcome in to First Alert Weather Extra on this Labor Day. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan in for Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt this week. Thank you for joining us on our all-weather streaming show that, believe it or not, a week from now will be going live on air on your good old-fashioned television right after Fox 6 News. So can't wait to join you there. In the meantime, we love talking with you over this digital space. And fortunately today for Labor Day, the weather has been very quiet. Let's get a live look right now outside from our First Alert Sky Vision here atop a Red Mountain. You can see a partly cloudy sky and you know, it's pretty watching the sunset, but I almost get a little annoyed because the days are getting shorter as we get closer to not just the fall equinox, but then after that, the winter solstice, the darkest day of the year here in the northern hemisphere. Let's check out those temperatures though. Upper 80s for a lot of us still this evening. 89 in Birmingham, 88 in Tuscaloosa, 87 in Anniston, 86 in Coleman, and 89 in Columbiana. So we've got some sunshine, a few clouds around. I do expect cloud cover to increase overnight. First Alert AccuTrack right now though, very quiet. It looks like our radar's been trying to pick up on maybe a couple of sprinkles south of Tuscaloosa, closer to Centerville, west of Columbiana and western Shelby County, but it just doesn't look like a lot of that is very promising at this time. So fairly quiet this evening. If you're headed out to dinner, maybe running some errands before the 4-day work week starts. I don't think you're going to be dealing with much in the way of rain. However, cloud cover is going to increase overnight as we see some moisture moving in from our west. You'll notice over the Mississippi River Valley, we've got rain and storms that are moving over the river right now. And so as that moisture moves towards us overnight into tomorrow morning, one, it's going to be feeling a little bit more humid, but two, we do have a first alert for the possibility of a few showers tomorrow morning. Let's look at the next 48 hours. So here we go. And tomorrow, our high resolution data picking up on maybe a few showers tomorrow morning. Not a slam dunk, but I would just have that umbrella or rain jacket just in case. Now by Wednesday, we could see another disturbance moving in from our northwest that could potentially bring a cluster of storms to us as we get into Wednesday afternoon. Now there's a chance for those cluster of storms to get here that they could actually fizzle out, and then we don't have much in the way of rain to deal with. So these rain chances that are in the forecast, they're a little uncertain, but we'll keep fine-tuning those. In the meantime, honestly, our weather here in central Alabama hasn't been too bad. A very different story out west though. In Nevada's Black Rock Desert, weather conditions are finally improving after 2 months worth of rain fell within hours over the weekend, leaving many Burning Man festival goers stranded. Laura Aguirre has more on this story and the rising concerns about the environmental toll the festival exodus may have on the desert.
Burning Man festival goers call it the camp. Unseasonably heavy rain Saturday turned it into a massive deep mud pit. Many at the camp's outer edges were able to get out before roads were totally impassable.
If you're inside the inner camp, you're pretty much stuck.
I feel like people might be here till Thursday.
Despite the tough conditions, there's a strong spirit of community.
The organization asked us all to turn down the sound system, to ration food and water, and we are here happy. We don't want this to end.
We did it. We walked 6 miles.
Celebrity DJ and songwriter Diplo was among the masses who resorted to walking out over the weekend, at one point hitching a ride in a fan's pickup truck, along with comedian Chris Rock. Diplo posted that he made it to his show in D.C. Saturday night, an early exit that is catching heat from some of the other festival attendees.
And that kind of implanted in everyone's mind, if the B-rate celebrities can get out, then I can get out too.
And many others who did get out left behind a mess almost bigger than the mud.
They're leaving their entire campsites behind, ditching their cars, their trash, their tents. I'm afraid there won't be a Burning Man next year if we can't clean this up.
At the moment, some diehards are digging in, waiting for the mud to dry.
We're going to be stuck here maybe a couple extra days, and that's just one thing you kind of have to plan for when you come to Burning Man.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Many attendees say they're still sticking around for tonight's finale when a giant wooden stick figure will be set on fire, which is the whole point of Burning Man. It was originally supposed to be Sunday, but of course was delayed due to the weather. Other parts of the state in Nevada also saw heavy rain over the weekend. On Saturday, southbound Interstate 15 was shut down after the area received 3 inches of rain in just 2 hours. The night before, Las Vegas Fire and Rescue said they responded to 24 water rescue events, including 30 to 35 vehicles stranded in water. 10 to 12 people were also rescued from standing or moving water. Well, as states along the eastern seaboard continue to clean up in the wake of Hurricane Idalia, President Biden and the First Lady visited the Florida Big Bend over the weekend to survey the damage. They met with federal personnel, local officials, and first responders who updated the president on the storm response during a meeting in Live Oak, Florida. He also got an aerial look at the damage. Though he didn't meet with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, he says he is hopeful that recovery efforts will continue for the Sunshine State.
Well, no, I'm not disappointed. He may have had other reasons but he did help us plan this. He sat with FEMA and decided where we should go, where would be the least disruption. And I'm very pleased. The guy who we don't agree very much at all, the distinguished former governor and senior senator, he came, talked about to me and to you all about what an incredible job the federal government was doing. And I found that reassuring. And so I think we can pull all this together. I really do.
Along with the president's visit in Florida, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is set to tour Maui several weeks after that catastrophic wildfire killed 15 people. Well, coming up next on First Alert Weather Extra, after a successful moon landing, find out which country is now headed towards the sun and what their goal is. And also, in case you missed it, we do have a first alert for a few showers and storms back in the forecast. We'll break down those rain chances, check in on weather around the world, and back here at home, more wildfires in the U.S. We'll be right back.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome into Good Day, Alabama.
A new morning comes with preparing right, because while you slept, news broke.
We have new information from that breaking news that happened this morning.
While you head out, the storm we gave you the first alert for is on its way in. And as the key turns the ignition, your shorter route to work is being found.
Avoid 459 southbound completely because of a crash.
A new morning means everything you need for a good day is on Good Day Alabama, always on your side.
The First Alert traffic you need to get you there safe and on time. Tomorrow morning, everything you need for a good day is on Good Day Alabama.
You're late, out the door, and on the go. Don't worry.
Good Day, Alabama continues all morning long.
And wherever you watch, this is what you need to know right now.
More reporters on the streets with more hours of news when you need it. Everything you need for a good day is on Good Day Alabama. Knowing first is everything. First Alert Weather.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. Meteorologist Lauren Linehan here. As most Floridians know, a hurricane preparedness kit is a must-have when the tropics begin to heat up. Lindsay Sablon joins us now with an author who wrote a children's book to help kids handle the pressure of getting prepared.
Rosie and her dog Napoleon sat on the floor in the living room watching television. Mr. Matt, the meteorologist, stood in front of a map of Florida making big sweeping gestures with his arms.
We all hope we don't see Mr. Matt making big sweeping gestures, But it was this time last year that inspired Fernanda Farrell Zabala, her sister-in-law, and another author to write this book, Rosie and the Hurricane.
I have a niece and a nephew who I was talking to quite a bit during the hurricane, trying to entertain them a little bit because they were bored. And it hit me that they had a lot of feelings. They were scared, they were bored, they were annoyed.
Fernanda grew up around hurricane preparedness. Her family started advanced hurricane technology. But it wasn't until that conversation with her niece and nephew she realized kids need a different kind of preparation. Then came the post-hurricane devastation.
We believe that the number one need for kids is joy. So during the aftermath, we sponsored an ice cream truck to go to a food pantry to make sure that it provided free ice cream to all the families, and the kids loved it.
That need to help children kept calling her. They wrote this book, found an illustrator whose dog is featured in the story, and off they went.
My littlest one, her name is Olivia Rose, and she was the inspiration for the name, Rosie.
One of my favorite parts is the front fold, where it offers suggestions on how to talk to your kids about hurricanes, saying after reading a few pages, stop and ask how they think Rosie's feeling and why.
The Lee County school system has not only approved this book for all of their students from kindergarten through second grade, but they have also added it as part of their curriculum.
Okay, well, I know what I'm getting all of the First Alert weather team for Christmas now. What a cool story, and how cool we have our own meteorologist, Matt, as well. The author's current goal is to raise enough money to give the school books for free. Just love that. Well, outside of weather here in the U.S., around the world, at least 3 people have died in central Spain after heavy rain triggered flash flooding over the weekend. The storm affected the entire country, collapsing several bridges, sweeping away cars, and forcing the nation's capital to close its metro lines and high-speed rail. Madrid's mayor say the rainfall was set to hit a record high. Helicopters in Toledo, 30 miles southwest of Madrid, worked to rescue people who escaped to their roof. As of today, the state's meteorological agency says the rain is finally beginning to move out of the area. And in Taiwan, more than 3,000 people have been evacuated from high-risk areas after Typhoon Haikui made landfall on Sunday. That was the first major storm to hit the country since August of 2019. It brought torrential rain and strong winds, causing many schools and offices to close today, and unfortunately left 24 people injured. The Taiwanese president informing communities to avoid hiking up mountains, fishing, or engaging in any water sports. After passing through southern Taiwan, Typhoon Haikui will head all the way toward China. And back here in the States, 2 highways in rural Utah forced to close after a mudslide damaged the roads. Fox's Emily Tenser has more.
For anybody hoping to head east from Spanish Fork, you're not going to get very far. US 6 is closed here at the turn to US 89 toward Thistle, but the cause of this closure is actually 40 miles down that way. Take a look at this mudslide and the way it totally buckled the road near mile marker 228. Now this is near Price Canyon in the city of Helper.
Keep on coming forward.
Sunday evening's sudden road closure created quite the headache for holiday weekend travelers.
The road's completely gone. It's been washed away.
Troopers had to break the news to drivers that their road trip just got even longer.
Good, where are we headed?
We're going to Moab.
Okay, so you're gonna hit US 89 right here.
Okay.
It's gonna take you south. Eventually you're gonna hit I-70, which is an east-west road.
UDOT says the goal is to have US 6 back open by early Monday afternoon. Vehicles will be traveling on gravel at a dropped speed of 25 miles per hour, so make sure you plan for extra time. But the road reopening is all depending on how the weather plays out. So if you plan on heading this way on Monday, keep an open mind that things could change. Reporting near Thistle, Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Thanks, Emily. And in Texas, a massive wildfire being called the Game Preserve Fire is leaving an eerie sight for people who live in the area. The fire burning an area the size of, get this, more than 750 football fields is currently only 60% contained. A temporary flight restriction remains in place as firefighters continue to try and put out the blaze, but evacuations and road closures have been lifted as of Sunday. Firefighters and crews say the drought drought and above average heat have been making fighting the fire a challenge, and the cause of it is still unknown. Thankfully, no injuries or residential damage have been reported. Well, coming up next on First Alert Weather Extra, we gave you that first alert for the possibility of a few showers in the forecast. We'll look at the futurecast and have an update on the tropics. But first, let's get a look at today's almanac.
We heard the first alert. Mom says we have to go. She says I don't have time to grab any more toys.
Need to be in your tornado safe place. Get there right now as you have.
We have to get to our safe place because sometimes when you hear the siren, it's too late. That's why she says knowing first is everything.
We know weather can be grab the umbrella or jogging shoes, but it's so much more. It's a science, an art, led by knowledge and experience.
And no one has more of that than a WBRC First Alert weather team.
Warning you first with more hours committed to you. And the first forecast built to see weeks, days, and even minutes ahead, right down to where you live. From the team you trust on your favorite screen.
Doing the weather better. The WBRC First Alert weather team always on your side.
The first alert is more than a warning. It's a promise. A promise to get you out of harm's way with plenty of time to spare. 4 walls and a roof can be replaced. Lives can't. That's why knowing first is everything. First Alert Weather.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. The sun has not officially set yet, but we are getting those good sunset views. It's beautiful, but I am a little cranky because it means we are beginning to lose those daylight hours. Certainly a beautiful view though. And hey, at least as we're losing daylight hours, we are getting into spooky season, which I consider to start on September 1st. Nothing spooky about that sunset though on First Alert Sky Vision. In Birmingham, we're still checking in at 89 degrees. Notice the dew point is in the 60s. When dew points are in the mid-upper 60s. It's a little humid outside, but it could be worse. We do have winds coming in out of the south, so that southerly component to the wind is helping to pull in some more moisture off the Gulf of Mexico. When you have that southerly component to the wind in the summer months, it also means bad news because it's going to be feeling humid outside. So I think we're going to be seeing humidity increasing in coverage over the next couple days. Going to get worse before it gets better. Checking out those current temperatures, we mentioned we're 89 here in Birmingham, also in Columbiana, 89 as well down in Marion, 87 in Centerville, 81 in Ashland, and 88 in Gadsden. Checking in at 87 over in Vernon. So a very seasonable Labor Day. This evening, if you've got to run some errands, maybe grabbing some dinner before kicking off the 4-day work week for tomorrow. We've got just a partly cloudy sky right now. I do think after midnight, though, we're going to be seeing clouds increasing in coverage. Rain chances look very low, just looking warm and a little on the humid side this evening, but should be fairly quiet. Now, as we get into tomorrow, we're going to begin to see rain chances going up just a touch. Now, I would check in on the First Alert Weather app before you go to bed tonight. I'm going to be looking at some of the latest model data before we go back on air tonight on First at 9. And I may have to bump up that rain chance because some of the high resolution data has been indicating, hey, there may actually be a few showers around in the morning. So don't buy it just yet, but I don't want to totally rule out that possibility. And then with it looking a little bit more unsettled on Wednesday and Thursday as some disturbances move through, went ahead and bumped up to a chance for some widely scattered showers and storms Wednesday and Thursday before next big thing. The front comes through, a little cold front, and that should knock down rain chances as we get into the weekend. That's the hope at least. So looking at the bus stop forecast for tomorrow, it's not a bad idea if the kids pack an umbrella or rain jacket. It doesn't look like it's going to be a washout all day long, but I think the best chance to see a few showers may actually be during the morning hours. Unfortunately, these type of disturbances that are coming through, they're really tricky to forecast for, and our model data doesn't handle it very well. So we're just kind of covering our bases here. Don't want to rule out the potential for a few showers tomorrow morning, and then a partly cloudy sky tomorrow afternoon after some clouds around early in the day. If we can rebound from any showers that would be around in the morning, highs tomorrow should be in the upper 80s, low 90s, with just a little bit of a breeze coming in out of the south. So let's look at our future radar as we go into tomorrow. I mentioned cloud cover is going to be increasing overnight. This model in particular is the one that's suggesting, hey, there may be a few showers around in the morning. Some of our high resolution data is showing that potential for a few showers along that I-65 corridor around 8, 9 a.m. So of course we'll have traffic updates on Good Day Alabama if we end up seeing more rain than initially expected. But for now, just accounting for maybe a few showers around in the morning. And then as we get into the afternoon, a partly cloudy sky with the best chance of a shower off to our north. And then as we get into Wednesday and Thursday, you've heard us talk about a northwest flow pattern a lot this summer. When you have those northwest flow patterns in place, what can happen is, as the name suggests, you get storms coming in from the northwest and they can push to the southeast. The problem is timing out when those clusters of storms come in. So some of our modeling has been indicating, hey, there may be a little cluster of storms trying to come in Wednesday afternoon. Some are showing they come in, but before they get to Birmingham, they fizzle out. Others are showing, hey, maybe at least northwest of I-2059, there could be a few storms Wednesday afternoon. So we're covering our bases by keeping that 40% chance of rain on Wednesday and Thursday to account for that northwest flow pattern. What about the tropics? We've been pretty lucky here in Alabama so far. We are getting into the peak of hurricane season. You see, we are here. The climatological peak of hurricane season in the Atlantic Basin is actually going to be on Sunday, September 10th. So typically in September, that's when you see the most activity out in the Atlantic, and that's what we're seeing today. We have the remnants of Gert and Katia that have faded away. They were mere fish storms, but as we look farther to the south, we see two areas from tropical waves that have been moving off of the west coast of Africa that could possibly develop. There's also this little area, this disturbed area of weather off of the west coast of Portugal that could possibly develop. A very low chance though. So let's focus on the ones a little farther to the south. This one cluster of showers and storms moving off the west coast of Africa has about a medium chance of development over the next week. But the one that I wouldn't be surprised to see named here in less than 48 hours is this cluster of showers and storms that is looking more organized today out in the middle of the central Atlantic. Where could it go? Well, our spaghetti models indicate it's going to keep on moving to the west-northwest, could possibly just brush the northern tier of the Lesser Antilles, getting a little too close for comfort in areas like Puerto Rico, over towards Hispaniola, where you have Haiti and the Dominican Republic. So we're going to watch this. We definitely need to keep a close eye on it along the eastern seaboard. As we look at the names, Katia was the last one that we had named that has faded away. So next on the list is going to be Lee, and I think that's what that one down to well to our south and east, out in the middle of the central Atlantic, could be named here. If not today, maybe sometime tomorrow. So looking at the 7-day forecast for us here, no immediate tropical concerns. It looks like the Gulf is behaving itself, but we do want to keep an eye on rain chances over the next few days, especially for tomorrow. That 20% chance of rain looks more favorable in the morning, but like I said, check back in tonight and may have to bump up that rain chance again if we see some of these high resolution models are like, well, it may not be out of the question to get a few more showers in the morning. So a little bit unsettled through at least Thursday, maybe a couple lingering showers on Friday. And then as we get into the weekend, front coming through, and that should knock those morning lows more comfortably down into the 60s. And of course, the best part about the weekend this time of the year is college football, which kicked off this past weekend, marking the start of meteorological fall. But despite what the calendar says, some fans in Wisconsin had to deal with extreme heat. Grace Olch has more.
Grab a bag of ice or something. Don't be soft. You got to represent the Badgers, baby.
Saturday's season opener for Wisconsin was close to matching the record for the hottest game played at Camp Randall. But that didn't stop fans from cheering on and ushering in the newest era of Badger football.
You got to catch the shade. If it's a little bit hot out here, I'm sweating, you know, you can see the sweat, you feel me? So I'm just trying to make sure my hat don't get any more sweat stains on it. So I'm going to stand in the shade.
Intense weather won't be scaring away Badger fans anytime soon. They tell me other than enjoying the game today, their focus has been drinking lots of water and getting in the shade whenever they can.
We brought a lot of water with us to begin with. We brought a cooler of water, and then we drink a lot of water on the way here, drink a lot of water inside, and when they get out, they're going to have more water.
Badger fans say while getting enough water was a big priority, some of their biggest sighs of relief came when they could get out of the sun.
When we got in, the sun wasn't on us, or was on us, but then it started to go down. So it was actually pretty nice. There was a little bit of a breeze. A lot of people were hot, but on the other side of the stadium, but not on ours.
UW students were also on high alert walking into Camp Randall. Warnings about Saturday's weather came from multiple campus officials, and students Molly McCormick and Claire Daly say they're happy to see stadium seats filled with red once again, but the sun on the student section made things pretty uncomfortable.
We're both nursing majors, so we've been keeping our eyes out, and I think that we've been really focusing on that, and especially as nursing majors, we kind of been on high alert, but personally, we haven't seen anything go down.
In Madison, Grace Alch, 27 News.
Well, outside of the heat here on Earth, 2 weeks after a successful moon landing, India is now setting its sight on the sun. Yes, the sun, that big burning ball of gas in the sky. So the country launched the Aditya L1 Saturday morning, which is the country's first spacecraft dedicated to studying the sun. It's headed towards Lagrange Point 1, which is 930,000 miles from Earth. Casual. Lagrange Point 1 is the area between the sun and Earth where balancing gravitational forces allows objects to stay where they are. The mission's key goal is to study the sun's upper atmosphere and other various solar phenomena. That is so cool. I would love to learn more about that. Well, 2 men from Massachusetts came to the rescue of 2 trapped swans over the weekend. As Richard Damas reports, the feathery friends were stuck for several days and the rescue was caught on camera.
3 of the 4 swans, which appear to be trapped in a spillway in Salisbury Pond and Institute Park for the last several days, are free now, thanks to a pair of Worcester residents. Jonathan Booker was one of the people who took it on themselves to move the swans, and it's not his first time going into the spillway to move a bird.
Well, last summer, there was birds stuck in there. I climbed down with a ladder, and I just thought, like, you know, it's God's creature. God's creatures need help too, you know, so I don't know why these birds have been stuck there for 5 days, but I just thought they needed help, and I went down and got it done.
Thomas Burns was the other local resident responsible for the operation. He arrived on the scene to support Booker shortly after hearing about the swans in the news earlier Thursday morning.
John went back down, and I followed him back down into the basin, and we scooped the mother and the last baby up, and we wheeled them over to this area where we released them, and I came back to look this afternoon, and they're doing quite well.
City manager Eric Batista did announce on social media Wednesday they had plans as early as Thursday to rescue the swans with the support of Mass Wildlife and the Animal Rescue League of Boston. But Burns says it's frustrating that the city didn't take further action sooner.
People calling people, and everybody's pointing fingers, but nobody wants to get the job done. They want to wait for people from Boston to come down. We live in Worcester. It's mini Boston. We should have our own people, our own. They shouldn't suffer down there with no food, no water, and losing a child for 6 days. It's unheard of.
The city did say they're working on creating safety precautions around the pond to better protect local wildlife, and they hope to be able to implement those policies soon.
Oh my goodness, we love seeing people advocating for wildlife. Thank you for that great job up there. Meanwhile, here in central Alabama, we're going to be advocating for a cold front to come through, which we may finally get later in the week. You'll notice by Friday morning, we could see temperatures dropping down into the 60s, and it looks like maybe 60s could stay with us through Monday of next week. Before that happens, though, our next big thing, we got to track the potential for a few showers and storms in the forecast. You can see Tuesday through Friday. Right now, it looks like maybe the best rain coverage would be on a Wednesday and Thursday, but there's a lot of uncertainty. So check back in with us tonight on First at 9 for an update on the forecast, and join us here on Weather Extra every weeknight at 6:30 on your favorite streaming platform. And don't forget, next week we're doing it the old-fashioned way. Going to see you live on TV at 6:30 after Fox 6 News. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. Have a safe and happy Monday evening.